Welcome to another episode of the Design+Style podcast. We are a podcast for designers by designers. I am one of your co-hosts, Dixie Willard Design. And with me, as always, is beautiful, effervescent
Rachel with Rachel Moriarty Interiors.
And we wanted to say that the Design+Style podcast is brought to you by the Visibility Lab. The Visibility Lab is the only membership group that focuses on the latest strategies and tools to help you get more visible while showcasing your specific brilliance. We've got weekly online office hours with both of us, monthly topics, in-depth worksheets, and exclusive monthly trainings.
I have been waiting for this day for months, Dixie.
Yes, she has. She's not lying.
I am not lying. I know. We have Karin Bohn from the House of Bohn, and she has been really, it's such an influence to me, I think, just because I don't think I had a full vision of what I wanted to do, what I wanted my stamp to be in the design industry, and she kind of is that full picture. I was like, oh, okay, she does, personal brand and lifestyle and travel plus interior design, and I just love that about her. So I am so excited that we got her on the podcast.
And I love too that she's giving back to the interior design community by showing you exactly what it takes to put yourself out there, to do design, all of the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
And just even things like dealing with HR, which I don't ever want to have to do.
It's been really exciting that one of our community members introduced us to her. She was already putting out great content, and now she's well over, I haven't checked the numbers lately, but I know she just hit her 10,000.
I checked it today. She had 17,050 subscribers today when I looked.
That is crazy because she just celebrated 10,000. So within the last couple of weeks, she got 7 more.
How crazy is that?
She is blowing up. Let's get to it.
Karin Bohn is a Canadian award-winning luxury interior designer, successful businesswoman, speaker, and YouTube personality.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
I am more excited.
We have to announce that this is your first podcast interview.
This is my very first podcast interview. Yeah. I'm feeling legit right now that I'm doing a podcast.
So legit right now. I have to tell you, I'm gonna out myself, Dixie.
Okay.
Well, if you didn't, I would have. So
I know. Okay, that's why I want to do it myself.
Love it.
Our community introduced us to you, and I went on, and I can't even tell you, I binge watched you so hard. Awesome. Dixie would call me and we'd try to do a meeting, and I'd be like, excuse me, I'm watching Karin Bohn right now. I can't talk.
I love that. You know what? That means so much to me and my entire team. That's the best compliment. And I always feel so just humbled and honored that people watch even a single episode on YouTube, let alone binge watch. So when people are saying oh my God, I'm binge watching you right now, I'm always like, wow, that's so amazing. So thank you so much. I do really feel humbled and honored about that.
You receive it so well too, because when somebody says that to me, I'm all, oh.
Yeah. Well, it's a funny thing because when you're putting yourself out there a lot, as I'm sure with you guys are with your podcast, right? There's a certain amount of vulnerability that has to happen as you're putting yourself out into the public, whatever the platform is. And so I think, I think for people who are only watching or consuming, they might not realize the type of vulnerability that there is there. So when you get a compliment or when people are really loving the content that you're putting out, it's just an amazing compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our community focuses around visibility.
Yes.
And most of our community are solo design firms and small residential design firms.
Yeah.
It's mostly stagers, stylists, and decorators.
Okay.
And designers too, interior designers. Dixie's got, I always say Dixie's got alphabet soup behind her name.
Amazing.
So I love that you talk about the vulnerability. A lot of people reach out to us and say, you guys are so confident. And we're like, there is now we, down the road, we are a bit confident, but I think courage trumps confidence.
Definitely.
You have to be courageous, and you have to put yourself out there.
You have to be courageous. Yeah. And I think that the only way to become more confident is by doing and by trying, right? And by getting outside of your comfort zone. And that's the only way that growth happens too. Business growth or personal growth is that you have to be consistently getting outside of your comfort zone. So, and that could be anything from doing a podcast to doing a YouTube episode to doing a cold call, which for me, I've talked about that a lot on my YouTube channel and building my business through cold calling. And I still do a lot of cold calling. And that was I had to work at it. It didn't come naturally in the beginning. It was super, super scary. I hated doing it in the beginning, but I was motivated to build my business. And the more that you do it and the more comfortable you get at it, the more that just builds your confidence. So I 100% agree that courage trumps confidence for sure, but courage is what leads to confidence.
Absolutely.
And I think failure is really important too.
Oh my gosh.
Very important. I think you can't be growing and you can't be building, your self-esteem if you're not failing and you're not dusting yourself off and moving forward again. So you can't live inside, you can't grow if you're living inside a box.
What we try to tell our community too is you have to get uncomfortable and then stay there. You know what I mean? Every time I do something that's out of my comfort zone, once it starts to feel comfortable is when I start pushing again.
For sure. And you know what? I think for me, so there are times in my business and in my life where I just have to accept and embrace the discomfort, whatever that looks like. And, as a business owner, and even if you're a solo entrepreneur, you know that there are ebbs and flows in business. And as you're growing, there's always challenges that you're taking on. It's not an easy road. And there's times that I've experienced when building my business where, we hadn't been collecting on payments and our was hitting the fan with clients, and we had overhead and staff to pay for and all of these commitments and so much pressure. And I couldn't see a new work coming around the corner. And those are always the scariest, toughest times to go through because you have so much pressure and commitment that you have to do. And so in those moments, I always try to check myself and say, okay, you know what? It's uncomfortable right now. I'm just going to embrace the discomfort and this too shall pass. And I think that for me, that's really worked because it allows me to have a little bit of peace in those really hard times. And it allows me to approach any of the problems that are coming up or the challenges that are coming up from so much more of a centered place rather than being really reactive. Right? So yeah, but definitely embracing the discomfort is very, very important for sure.
Okay. I have to ask you something.
Okay, let's do it. Sounds serious.
No, not at all. Well, Dixie and I were, of course, researching you. I didn't even need to research you actually, because I've been kind of doing that for the last couple months.
Yeah.
But we love that you have this personal brand.
Okay.
As well as your firm. I think I think the reason why you resonated with me so much is because my background to design was organic. I didn't go to design school. I did get a certification in 2005.
Okay.
But I was a fashion stylist and prop stylist and visual merchandiser, and I kind of did that track.
Right.
And so for me, it's always been well, how do I bring this fashion part? I'm almost 50, so my fashion was in my 20s.
Oh my God, girl, you look like you're 30.
So
amazing.
This thing that happened years ago, right? I'm how do I pull that in and make it, and make it part of my thing? So that's why it really resonates. I love that you do. In the past, you've done the makeup and you've done lifestyle, your travels, all of that. So I just love that you do this whole personal branding of yourself. Is that what came first? Thanks. The personal brand or?
No, it definitely wasn't the personal brand. So I definitely built my business for just head down, worked hard for a full 5 years before I did anything on social media, anything. Yeah. And I think when I started my business, there wasn't Instagram. I don't even think it was really around because I started my business, 9 years ago, and no one was really using it. And after 5 years, I had reached a certain level. I wouldn't say that I was established in a big way, but I had reached a certain level of, you know, I had an office and I had staff and we had a few systems and the business was trucking along. And for me personally, I felt like I loved what I had built, but self-expression is so important to me. And self-expression is, we have 8 commandments at House of Bohn, and self-expression is definitely one of them, that you can express yourself, that you can show up, be who you are. And I really felt like I had something to say and more to share beyond just my interior design work. And I sort of felt like, you know, I had a beautiful website and great portfolio photos, but I wasn't able to show my personality in the way that I wanted to. So it was about after 5 years that I just started dabbling with starting a blog and just really experimenting with social media. And it's just evolved into what it is now. And I don't know, I just genuinely love.
You've been at it a while. Like, you've been at it a while.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, the YouTube channel is technically probably about 2 years old or something like that. But we started really posting consistent content last January. So about a year ago. And then, but I definitely started my blog probably about 4-ish years ago. And it was really, I mean, like anything, you start a business, it's trial and error, right? You're just experimenting what works, what doesn't work, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. But the great thing was that I had already built a business. And so building a personal brand after that, I don't want to say like it was easier, but it wasn't like I was trying to build a personal brand and then try to build a business on top of a personal brand, because that's not at all what I'm trying to do. It was just, this really is just a platform for self-expression. And then it's turned into an amazing way to give back to my community too, and share knowledge and be really honest and real about what's going on for me as a businesswoman. And the more I talk about that topic, it's amazing to me the response that I get from that. And then the realization that this is, okay, truly important work, because we living in North America, I think we have it so made as a businesswoman and as a woman in North America, but to be able to do all this stuff and have a business and grow a business and build a personal brand. I mean, there's so many countries in the world that can't do that, or that need really awesome role models and strong women to look to. So now it's almost become a little bit more of, I feel like it's bigger than me, I guess.
Oh my gosh. It's taken on a life of its own.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I know. I think one of the comments in our community was that they love the ones where you're just like, being an entrepreneur is just so hard. Like sometimes when you're just like, you look great and you have your coffee and you're looking all cute, but at the same time, you could just tell there's like this weight of like so much decision.
For sure. Yeah. And you know, it's an interesting thing, the entrepreneurial struggle, because people don't want to talk about it. And there's a lot of smoke and mirrors that happen in the
hashtag.
When you're building a business. Totally. Yeah. And I think also men and women think about business very differently too, which I'm like fascinated by that topic. But so just the idea of smoke and mirrors, and that you're trying to portray bigger than you are. You're trying to portray like you've got a bigger team than you do, or that you have bigger clients than you do, or more clients than you do, or whatever that looks like for, you know, whichever industry. And the one thing that I really love about the YouTube channels, it's like, okay, this is, you know, we are peeling back the layer, we are peeling back the curtain, and you get to see really what's happening behind the scenes. And for me, there's something I love about that, because it's like the ultimate transparency. You know, like if you want to work with us, you can see what it's like on our YouTube channel. Or if you want to know anything about us, it's right there. And it just is, you know, it is what it is.
Even there was one episode I was watching, and I don't remember which, it fell under the entrepreneurial part of it, but you were talking about how much you hate HR issues. I was like, yes,
I do.
I don't want to hire people because I don't want to have to deal with all of that issues. And it's nice to hear that you're not the only one, you know?
Totally. Yeah. And I think that, I don't know. I think that women and entrepreneurs think that they have to have it all together, and that you have to love what you're doing every single day, and your job is amazing. And, you know, this is your passion, so why would you be having a bad day, kind of thing. And I think that even if you're doing what you're passionate about, it's still a job at the end of the day. You still have commitments, and you still have to wake up and do your job. And not every aspect of that job you're going to love. And that's totally okay. That's totally okay. You don't have to love every aspect of it. And I think there's actually something really powerful in really being able to identify the things that you don't like and passionately don't like, because you know right away that's something that you need to give to someone else, because they're going to do a way better job than you are at it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
have you ever read the book Big Magic by Elizabeth
No.
Gilbert?
Oh, you know what? But I've heard of it.
It's
Big Magic.
so
Yeah, I've heard of
good.
it. Is it?
She talks about it and about choosing something that you're passionate about. Basically, when you do that, you're choosing which sandwich you're going to eat, right?
Yeah. Right.
It's either the corporate thing that you don't like doing, or even if it's something you love doing, we still have to eat the same one, just a different flavor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
Really good.
Exactly. I think I remember Marie Forleo talking about that on one of her YouTube episodes, or had interviewed her. And she was saying the exact same thing, that even when you do what you're passionate about, there's a certain amount of sandwich that comes with that passion. Yeah. And that's so true. And I think it's just the hopefully the goal or the aim in life is to just, eat as little of sandwich as you possibly can, but that everybody has to and is going to, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But
I do think as an entrepreneur too, I often say that, like, sometimes I feel like the janitor and the firefighter. Mm-hmm. That's really I'm a glorified janitor and firefighter. I put out all the problems and clean up all the.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is so good.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to need a tweetable. Speaking of Marie Forleo, tweetable.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a question. So when did you decide, or did you decide from the beginning, was it so intentional what you're doing, to hire a media team?
Oh, to hire a media team.
First do it I'm just going to do it by myself and one other, or?
I have to say, truly, the media team was happened organically. And more than anything, out of a need, I'm a believer in hiring for attitude and training for skill.
Yeah.
And I'm also a believer in hiring the right people, and that will help direct where the ship is going to go. Versus trying to steer the ship in a certain direction and then trying to find people to fill those roles. So really the media team, Sama, as you guys all know, or Kristen, she had been shooting fashion for me, just on contract so we had developed a relationship for, I don't know, maybe a year or two, maybe even longer than that. And one day she approached me and said, hey, you know what, if you're ever looking to hire someone full-time, I'd be interested in shooting for you and doing video. And that was amazing. It was great that I love hearing that she wanted to come on board with the team. And at the time I was kind of like, oh, could we afford someone full-time in-house?
Yeah.
But I loved working with her, and I knew that, when you hire the right person, the role will, it's kind of like that build it and they will come analogy. Like the role will sort of evolve, and if that person can add value to your business, then it'll work. And so it was a little bit of a leap of faith when I brought her on board, and it was great because we were able to just start collaborating in a really cool way, and developing. And the cool thing too is that she's been here with the YouTube channel basically since the beginning. When we tested out our first few videos, and so it's been a fun journey to go through people and do through the experimental phase, which when you're in startup, and that's kind of sometimes how I've thought about the media team, is it almost feels like a little startup again. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's something that's really exciting and fun about startup, because you don't know where it's going to go, and you don't know where your next job is going to come from, and how are you going to make money, and then how are you going to be profitable, and there's a certain excitement that comes with that. And then once you take your business to a level where it's now sustainable and profitable, if you're a true thoroughbred entrepreneur like I am, as soon as you take your business to a point of sustainability, it's insanely boring. Yeah. It's crazy. It's this weird thing that happens. It's almost like the excitement and the thrill of trying to get something off the ground and the challenge It's like self-torture. The brutal challenge of trying to get something off the ground is the exciting part. And then once it's all the pieces are in place, it's kind of like, oh, okay.
It's kind of like new,
now what do we do?
new design projects. You're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so awesome. And then you're like in it in the middle and you're like, oh my gosh,
yeah. But I think with the media team too, I mean, for me, I like really, like I said before, self-expression is super important to me. And I wanted to be working in media for a really long time. To be totally honest, I had been trying to actually get a TV show off the ground for pretty much as long as I have had my interior design business. So
see, that's what I was wondering. Cause I even remember one of the videos, that you did, that you said being famous was actually one of your values that you wanted.
Yep.
Not a value, but one of your things.
Oh, totally.
Like a little thing in your soul that you.
Oh yeah, totally. So, the feeling, that's like your core desired feelings.
Yes.
And one of them, for sure. Feeling famous. Different than being famous.
Yes.
Like it almost doesn't matter if I am famous. It's just if I feel that way. And no one knows about me, that's enough. Right.
Yes.
And so, that was a powerful moment, being able to identify that, because and then being able to say it out loud too, right?
I like the way you actually reframed that for me, because very Danielle Laporte, right?
Yeah.
But no, that's true, because as an introvert, I don't mind feeling famous, but I don't necessarily want to be.
You guys don't mind if you see Sama in the background, do you?
No, it's part of your story.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, I cut you off there. Yes.
No. Yeah. So I love the way that you reframe that, because I remember when you said it, I was like, wow. Yeah. And then I was trying to think in myself, like, is that something that I'm feeling too? And I was like, no. But the way you reframed it, I do like, I mean, obviously we put ourselves out there in a big way every day. So there must be that little something in there, right?
For sure. And I think, whatever those core desired feelings are, like if it was successful, being successful is so subjective. And being successful to different people means different things. So, but for you, if you just want to feel successful and you know what that feels like to you, that might not be money. It might not be, a huge agency. It might be something, it might be having just a very rich network of friends and family, and, a great career. That might be successful to you. And so that feeling is so much more important than the attainment of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm so glad we talked about that.
I like your hair, by the way.
Well, I had to.
I'm all about
intentional. It was intentional.
It was intentional. You worked for me.
I almost threw it on my shoulders, just kind of like Karin Bohn style,
I love it. I love it.
She really does have a crush on you. We're not.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's for real.
Total business crush.
Yeah. We're mutually girl crushing right now. So
I love it.
It's awesome.
What else did I want to say? I think I lost my place. Hold on. Somebody called me Wilma Flintstone chic. I went to and I wore this. They went, "Oh, you're so Wilma Flintstone chic today."
I love it. I love that. I love the background too. This is your office? I love the design. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. My home office. I work from home.
Oh,
we both do. So
awesome.
Anything else, Dixie? I lost my place.
No.
You're crushing. I can see it in her eyes.
Okay.
When she gets that glowy look in her eyes. Yeah.
Well, I know you guys talk about visibility a lot, right? And that's a big focus.
Yeah, that's actually a good segue into something I did want to ask about, which is, has having your YouTube channel with all of the different aspects in it, how has that enhanced your design business?
So interesting that you would ask that. And to be totally honest, I feel like it's too early to say, because it's still growing and evolving. But one of the things that I am a firm believer in, and at least for our practice and for House of Bohn, is that social media is not the same thing as sales. And I've said that before on I think another video, where the sales process and being very active on social media are two completely different things. And currently my social media audience is also very different than our interior design client. So, and right now, whether I bridge that gap, over the next year or over the next 5 years, that might happen. But right now, that's not to say that clients and stuff like that don't come through social media. They do, but it's not a huge portion of the work that we do. So I think for me, Gary Vee said it best, where I think he said, building a brand just to build a personal brand is pointless, or he said something along those lines. Like, what's the point in having a personal brand just for the sake of having a personal brand? But I do think that, it is good for visibility, and it's great for credibility. And like I said, again, transparency is one of our 8 commandments at House of Bohn. So by being able to, lift the curtain for people to see what's going on, I feel like that is the ultimate transparency. It definitely, I do notice that I get more calls from people who have seen the YouTube channel or Instagram for all sorts of different reasons. It's not always, and actually very infrequently, oh, I saw you on YouTube and I would love to hire you to design my place. So that doesn't happen very often, but who knows, that could change. But I don't even know if that's necessarily why the point of the YouTube channel. Like, for me, it really is about, community, and really about giving back and sharing. So I don't necessarily see it as like a sales tool funnel, if that makes sense.
But it is nice, though, to have those avenues there where sometimes it's not the client that sees it, it's somebody who knows your client.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that hasn't happened yet. Maybe it will. It will, but it hasn't happened. I don't know. I'll check back with you guys in a couple of years, and they'll say like, oh my God, we get all of our clients from YouTube.
Well, it's interesting.
I don't know.
Because I think your audience is designers, more like enthusiasts.
Yeah.
You get the question a lot, how do you become an interior designer?
For sure. Yes.
Now, I have the opposite. So almost all of my traffic to my website, which means I need to do a better SEO job, is Facebook. I just last night, when I post a picture of a before and after, I just posted a picture of me putting a cover on a bed. Somebody and just with like a post that says, this couple's going to sleep well tonight. Does your bedroom need a refresh? And I got a client like that, and I booked it for after the design. So I get a lot. It's the way that I show and kind of like tag or do my posts or whatever. I've nailed that down, but I have a very different client than you do. You have a big team, and you have big projects, and
and that was actually one thing I was just going to say is that's the thing too, is I think if it's you want to use social media as a tool for client acquisition or attracting new clients, I think identifying, first of all, are your clients even hanging out on social media?
Yeah.
Right? Because when we're doing big homes and like international projects, like they're just not finding us on social media. That's just not where they are. So definitely that's not a tool to attract them. So I think and I definitely think that there can be a lot of client acquisition or, lead generation through social media, but I think you have to understand your client first and then strategize for that.
And you have different, like I have gotten clients through from I did a little one of these and went into private banking. And so those people, the founders of the bank and the chairmen of the board, they're on LinkedIn.
Right.
So I connect with them on LinkedIn, and as long as I'm sharing what I'm doing, then I'm kind of top of mind when that stuff. So that's happened too, even though I'm not a heavy hitter on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So it's kind of different. You have to know the different ones, and
Yeah, and I think too, right now at social media, it's the hot thing right now. Like everybody's doing social media. There's that new platform, Vivo or whatever, that just
seen that. Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, another one.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important as a business owner to look at everything objectively and go, okay, what do I feel is going to be authentic to my practice?
Yeah.
And then where do I want to spend my time and energy and effort when it comes to whether it's promotion or visibility or client acquisition or sales, brand building, because there's so many different ways to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we can get really caught up in what everybody is doing and really trying to, aggressively do the same thing that everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
But that could be, and especially if you are a solo entrepreneur, I mean, there's only one of you. So there's only so much time that you have.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that you are maximizing that efficiency as much as possible. I think always just like taking a pause and stepping back a little bit is.
We always say if social media was a gym, we would deadlift Facebook. So you have to people try to flit around and they don't get any footing because they don't focus because they're like, oh, that's the next new thing. And that's I love Karin Bohn. I want my YouTube channel with that many followers, and it's like they never focus and just deadlift something. You know? And so one of the things that I did is I did a live stream for a year straight.
Wow. I think I knew that about you.
No way.
That's a big commitment to be able to do that.
And that's what we teach that's what people are missing is it's not so much the confidence, it's the courage and commitment. That's the problem that people
the discipline. Yes. And that's discipline, I think, is if you want to achieve something, it never comes without hard work and a little bit of sacrifice, right? And if you want to make a shift in your life, I think discipline is so important and so difficult to do. I find it personally difficult to do because there's so many distractions. And so changing your habits is like, oh my God. But that discipline, if you keep practicing and you show up every day for that one little thing, eventually it will shift and change.
It does turn into something. That's why I know your YouTube channel, it's just going to, I'm excited to see what happens. It's like, I always love, Dixie and I will be planners, like we'll go to market or whatever. And we'll be like, okay, we schedule this, but we always leave room for magic. Yeah. And so I love putting something, being pulled by intuition, and then leaving a little space for chance meetings, chance conversations.
For sure. Because you never know what's going to happen. And I think if you're really truly in alignment with who you are and what you're doing and very intentional about how you're moving through things, I think that great things are going to happen. Right. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, this has been amazing.
It's so wonderful to meet you guys.
Oh my gosh.
And thank you so much for having me on your show.
Oh my gosh. Our pleasure. Our pleasure.
Yeah. Well, what did you think?
How fun was that? What do you mean? What did I think? That was amazing.
Of course it was.
And you got all dreamy-eyed at the end too. I totally busted you.
Maybe a little bit. I try and hide it, but I'm not. Apparently my face shows everything that I'm thinking or feeling, so I should not try and hide anything really because it doesn't work.
No. She was exactly how I thought. That's what I love about video and watching video content, because right when we hopped on with her, she had no idea who we were, but actually she did. She sounded like she had done some, she had known a few things about us. But I was so surprised to learn that we were her first podcast.
Right.
Like she has this big YouTube channel now. And she's like, I feel legit. This is my first podcast.
I think I mentioned it, but I feel really special that we were her first.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she was so nice. And she's just the real deal. I am so looking forward to seeing where this journey takes her. I have a feeling she's going to just blow up. And so I look forward to crossing paths with her. I hope that we get to see her like at High Point or something like that in the future.
I've got my fingers crossed.
This podcast was made possible in part through the support of our preferred partners, like the Design Network. The Design Network offers one of the most powerful to-the-trade e-commerce programs in the furniture industry, combining the top brands in furniture, the best prices, and unparalleled logistics all in one place. Go to www.thedesignnetwork.com to join the Design Network's Trade Direct program, create your designer profile, connect with new clients, and start shopping today.